Hello ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. I know, the title is so pessimistic. I want the opening event to be something awesome and memorable as well, and feel like as much as possible it should recreate the atmosphere that players got to experience back in vanilla. Well, some players at least, since many more would have missed the actual 10-hour war. It's just that, given Blizzard's track record with high volumes of players in one zone, well, we have pretty much had it proven to us time and time again that the server tech that Blizzard is using to run classic World of Warcraft is not capable of extending its capacity to support as many players as there can potentially be at times in the game. Now, I'm no techie, believe me. I don't know what measures, be it expense or effort, would be required to actually keep the game playable when a huge event occurs. But at present, one of the main things that make an MMORPG so massively multiplayer is missing from Classic. The release of Blackwing Lair was an absolute mess, as was Zul'Gurub more recently. Every single Sunday and Wednesday evening in your faction's capital, the servers pretty much go into meltdown before a Nixia buff is dropped. The game just does not support large-scale open-world events essentially, so when it comes down to not just the opening event, but beforehand in the pre-event and the post-opening for the rep rewards associated with the Cenarian Circle, I'm fully expecting an incredibly laggy, borderline unplayable experience, just like how it was back in the day. I'm no doubt going to read in the comments, and I know most of them are jokes, but the real joke is Blizzard's literal non-action in regards to improving player experience when it comes to large-scale events, or even attempting communications on the logistical issues. So yeah, that's why I don't exactly have the highest hopes for it being any good. But then there's more I want to talk about, quite a bit more actually. Now, as you may be aware, we're in 2020. People have played vanilla servers many times over. How fast are the gates going to be open this time around? I think it's going to depend on quite a few different factors. Patch 1.9 released on the 3rd of January 2006. The first realm to have opened the gate was Medivh on the US servers on 22nd of January 2006, which honestly blows my mind that they were able to get it done that quickly. I mean, these guys were going into the war effort blind and they got it done that fast? That's nothing short of a miracle level server-wide effort that the event was designed to encapsulate. So, how can some servers open the gates before others? Well, there is no set in stone date when they will open. It's down to the actions players take on both the Horde and Alliance side on each and every server. I'm going to give you the real short version of what needs to be done to get the gates open. At least one player must have completed the Scepter of the Shifting Sands questline. This is the most epic quest that Blizzard have ever put into the game, bar none. This quest is pretty much the equivalent of being the hero of a solo player game in an MMO. The guy designated to get the Scepter is the Dragonborn. He's Agent 47, he's Link, he's Geralt of Rivia. Are you getting the picture here? You cannot get the Scepter alone. You need help, a lot of help. You need to complete many raids, many difficult elite quests, and require just a decent team around you to help you out, especially with farming, because between you and eventually other guildmates, you need around 42,000 Silithid carapace fragments from elites in Silithus itself. They drop 1 to 3 at a time, by the way. On top of this, you need a whole lot of other stuff. Seriously, this quest is massive. I'm not going to cover it in detail because honestly, there are already some very good videos on YouTube about it, which you can find easily enough if you want more information on that. Both factions must have completed the war effort hand-ins. Note, both factions. Per server, remember. So here's the list. It's completely insane in terms of what you need. And once all these have been gathered, there's a 5-day grace period where these items are transported over to Silithus. Once they arrive, any player with a scepter can bang the gong, giving them the mount and opening the gates, starting the 10-hour war. Any other players with the scepter must use it on the gong during that 10-hour period, or they will miss their chance to get a mount. You'll get the Scarab Lord title when Classic TBC is a thing too, I suppose. So now all that's clear, why does this matter? Well, I think things are going to be quite different than anything we've seen before. First things first, our server sizes dwarf those in Classic. We have 3 to 4 times the population if available data on sites like ironforge.pro is anything to go by. Not only this, but we're going to be going into the event knowing exactly which items we need in order to complete the war effort as soon as possible. And this can be a nice time to get reputation with your capital cities too, by the way, which I'll detail more in another video. Also, we have such a massive volume of extremely organised guilds and super dedicated players that will already be well underway planning getting the required items together in anticipation of the event starting, because as soon as Phase 5 hits, so many items go from useless or in low demand to super high demand overnight. Even on private servers, the war effort has been done in a few weeks, and that is with a much lower population. I think we're going to see some unbelievably fast times for the war effort contribution to be completed. As for the scepter, this one's going to be a bit more interesting. Obviously for PvE servers it is what it is, guilds will probably fall into we're going to farm this hive, you farm over there, they can't really grief each other. PvP servers though, where the majority of the hardcore guilds are, it's going to be a whole different story. It will depend on whether the Horde and Alliance decide to play nice and not step on each other's toes, or whether we get the longest, sweatiest camping and ganking fiesta you've ever laid your eyes upon, something to even rival Phase 2. Remember, you need around 42k Silithid Carapace fragments, 1 to 3 per kill, the elites are all in the open world. Yeah, you can see where this is going. I reckon it's going to be an absolute fiesta on most PvP servers, but all the same, I think the fastest opening in the world will happen on a PvP server where the Horde and Alliance decide to leave each other alone. Time will tell. There's also the logistics of getting the scepter in one reset, since it requires multiple trips into different raids at different points throughout the whole questline. For example, early on you need to go and kill Broodlord Lashlayer and later return for Nefarian. You need to go into Molten Core and do Trash and later do Ragnaros, but as far as I know it is doable. The world first Cthulhu kill just may be taken by an entirely new guild because of all this. However, there is something else to consider. In vanilla we did not have server transfers yet, they were not a thing until next Rammus, so whilst there were still small servers, there weren't nearly as many servers with extremely poor faction balance as we have today. To open the gates, both factions need to complete the war effort. Are the likes of Scarab or Flamelash ever going to open the gates to AQ? Well, probably not, but maybe. There are still options like funneling items through the neutral auction houses. Even then you'll need players with different accounts on that server, as they're PvP mostly, players with the capability to buy those and move those items to where they need to be in game as well. It seems a long shot, but I don't put it past people to make something you can't imagine being done in Classic anymore. What happened to the small servers in vanilla though? Good question. If your server could not complete the war effort, the gates didn't open, is the short answer. As new servers were rolled out in TBC, the war effort was still active on those, so people could transfer over and complete the whole event there. I also found a web page online, updated 5th of December 2006, which is right at the end of vanilla. TBC came out on the 16th of January 2007, just for reference, that shows near every single server having completed the war effort, bar just a few. So I guess it's doable even for the lower population or newer realms eventually. Nearly a year had passed since AQ was released in patch 1.9 by this point as well. There was no auto-completing the war effort until Wrath of the Lich King. Even then, this was only on new servers, with the first server to have this feature being shown as Nessingwari US. And yes, this meant that players who had completed the Scepter questline since patch 1.9 all the way to the release of this patch could transfer at the opening of the server and get their mounted title. The event itself closed in patch 3.2 for good, which was the cutoff point for you getting your rewards from being somebody holding the Scepter. So I wonder, will the 99 to 1% servers have their gates open? Well, after Phase 2, many people are going to have a hard time feeling sorry for them. All the same, how is your average player to know this would become their server's fate? I think despite all the challenges, it will still be done in time by hardcore organised players. But transfers present another potential problem, one that didn't exist in vanilla either. So remember, once the gong is sounded, all other eligible players have 10 hours to get over there and give it a bang before their hard work is for nothing. If you thought people ringing at bad times in vanilla caused problems, like someone deciding to do it out of spite at 3 AM for example, wait till people can transfer to your server and start the event by surprise. On many servers, players agree a date and a time for the ringing to take place so that everybody who's done the quest can get their mount, but with open transfers, any player with the scepter can change this at any point. Big servers are already locked due to layering, and I doubt this will change till after AQ now, to be honest, or maybe not at all. But with the 5-day grace period, it's very easy to know if and when you will be able to hand in. I don't think this will end up being too much of a concern. Overall, I think most scepters will be done by the time the war effort timer has started, apart from on the larger servers maybe. But if you do transfer to a server with the intention just to ring the gong for whatever reason, you're going to be stuck there for 3 months until you can transfer off it again, and you'll basically get griefed and blacklisted by the entire server. You essentially won't be playing the game for 3 months. Some people live for this kind of fleeting internet attention, I don't know. Once again, I just don't doubt if something's possible that somebody will do it. I guess at the end of the day, these aren't really concerns bar the server capacity issues, because it's all about how players handle the content that the game has to offer, and it's fun to speculate on what may happen though, because even if many people have seen many gate openings, it's never matched up to the sheer scale of what Blizzard's classic server can offer. So will Blizzard open the 99 to 1% servers? Will they lock transfers for players holding scepters? Will the servers be able to handle not only just the event itself, but the pre and post event levels of activity in Silithus? None of the above maybe? Yeah, that's what I'd go with. In any event, I'm quite looking forward to it. If anything, it's going to be some good content to play along and watch and see how it all develops. Have you guys got any thoughts on how it will all go down? I hope everything I went over here made sense and was simple enough. If you've got anything to add, pop it down below. As always, I do hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. If you like what you see, give the video a like and subscribe, as there's plenty more to come. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Take care. Bye.